Dawaj oglądamy sobie 27-minutowy powtórzenie całego timeline'u Residenta. To jest film, który powinniście obejrzeć sobie przed Requiem, przed nowym Residentem, żeby być na bieżąco, jeżeli nie wiecie, co się w tej serii odpieprza. I obejrzymy go sobie razem.
The ninth entry in the mainline Resident Evil
Znaczy,
series
jest
is
szansa, że to będzie takie, wiecie, mocno średnie, bo to IGN nagrał, ale powinno być git.
The ninth entry in the mainline Resident Evil series is fast approaching. But if you're looking to jump in for the first time, you might be left wondering what the hell is going on.
Where's everyone going? Bingo?
Co by nie było, seria Resident jest strasznie rozległa. Jak sobie pomyślisz, ile jest pobocznych gier, ile jest różnych nie-survival horrorowych typowych gierek w tym uniwersum. Było też masa railgun shooterów, tak zwanych, pod automaty takie trochę robione. I one też miały jakąś tam fabułę. A to ciężko to objąć umysłem. To jest trochę jak Final Fantasy. Może nie w takiej skali, ale jednak, gdzie jest kilka naprawdę legendarnych i dobrych gier, jest trochę gówna i wszystko ma jakąś fabułę, która jest w miarę spójna, ale nie idzie się w tym połapać za takiego śmiertelnika, co se wchodzi i po prostu chce ogarnąć uniwersum.
Here is a very condensed synopsis of the main Resident Evil story and everything you need to know leading into Resident Evil Requiem. Warning, the following contains spoilers.
Resident Evil Zero.
I ktoś zaraz powie, ale Resident Evil 0 wyszedł po Resident Evil 1. No ale ma to sens, co oni teraz robią, bo pokazują nam wydarzenia chronologicznie, a nie gry. Bo Resident Evil 0 jest faktycznym prequelem.
July 23rd, 1998. Raccoon City Police STARS Bravo team is dispatched to investigate murders in the Arclay Mountains, but crashes before they can reach. Survivor Rebecca Chambers makes her way towards a spooky-looking mansion nearby to find the rest of Bravo team. Before she can arrive, Rebecca, along with her newly acquired convict companion Billy Cohen, arrive at an abandoned training facility, discovering that its former director, Dr. James Marcus, along with former partner Oswald E. Spencer, was responsible for a new biological weapon dubbed the T-Virus, a deadly infection that turns humans into zombies and other monstrosities.
Ja wam powiem szczerze, biorąc pod uwagę plotki o tym, że Resident Evil 0 ma dostać remake, to się nawet jaram, bo te lokacje tam były serio fajne. I to można mega dobrze zrobić. Wyobraź sobie tę sekcję pociągową, training facility, to wszystko, co tam się dzieje, zrobione z kamerą w stylu Resident Evil 2 remake, już za pleców, z trzeciej osoby. To mogą być fajne rzeczy. Martwię się natomiast o mechanikę przełączania się między postaciami, bo to po prostu jest, kurde, dość kiepski pomysł. On może wyjść lepiej przy remake'u, ale ja nie wiem, czym tego nie rozbudował i nie zrobił po prostu dwóch scenariuszy, Billego i Rebeki, i odróżnił je jakoś solidnie od siebie, a nie stawiał na takie granie dwoma postaciami jednocześnie. Albo w ogóle zrobił tak, jak jest zrobiony Requiem. Może to w zasadzie są podwaliny do tego. Może tak jest, że to, że w 9 gramy na zmianę Leonem i Grace, jest jakimś takim projektem, który jest wypracowany długoterminowo na inne produkty również. W sumie w RE3 też tak było, tylko umówmy się, w RE3 zostało to zrobione słabo, więc nie ma trochę co o tym wspominać, bo w RE3 po prostu wszystko jest krótko i po łebkach w remake'u. Ale no tak, no można było tam chwilę grać Carlosem, nie?
Resident Evil.
STARS Alpha Team is dispatched to find out what happened to Bravo Team. The search leads STARS members Jill Valentine, Chris Redfield, Barry Burton and team leader Albert Wesker to the Spencer Mansion.
1 remake będzie legendarna. Tam akurat lokacje masz tak wybitne. Tak jak mówię zawsze, że posterunek policji w Raccoon City w drugiej części jest jedną z moich ulubionych map w historii gamingu, tak 1 również bym wysoko wystawił, jeżeli chodzi o Spencer Mansion. Cudowne miejsce do eksploracji i jeszcze można je pewnie rozbudować, tak jak w 2 zrobili w stosunku do oryginału z remake'iem. To może być coś wielkiego. No ale wracając do fabułki. To co? Mieliśmy kurde Bekę, mieliśmy Billego, dotarli do Training Facility Markusa i Spencera i mamy Resident Evil 1 teraz, tak?
Resident Evil.
STARS Alpha Team is dispatched to find out what happened to Bravo Team. The search leads STARS members Jill Valentine, Chris Redfield, Barry Burton and team leader Albert Wesker to the Spencer Mansion. The gang splits up and discovers the horrible fates of fallen STARS members due to the T-Virus outbreak, and Chris finds Bravo team member Rebecca Chambers still alive.
You.
Chris Redfield, Alpha Team. We're here to rescue you.
Jill and Chris eventually discover that the Umbrella Corporation, a pharmaceutical company with shady business practices, was behind illegal experiments that resulted in the horrors roaming the mansion's halls. Eventually, once they reach the sinister laboratory, our survivors discover that Wesker, their team leader, is actually a traitor and works for Umbrella in some capacity. Wesker infects himself with a strain of the T-virus for some elaborate plan that involves releasing a new superweapon, the Tyrant, that swiftly kills him. After managing to defeat the monster, the remaining Stars team escaped the facility.
No, umówmy się, tam chyba będzie ciężko coś poeksplorować, nawet jeżeli mielibyśmy sobie wyobrażać powrót tej lokacji.
Survivors return to Raccoon City and begin to learn that the corruption runs deep. They decide to go rogue and investigate a grand corporate conspiracy. Chris heads off to Europe solo, and Jill stays in the city to learn more about Umbrella.
Resident Evil 3.
In September 1998, Raccoon City became overrun with zombies. Umbrella sees this outbreak as an opportunity to test its latest bioweapon, sending down the experimental Nemesis, a hulking beast with a rocket launcher that's tasked only with the death of all Stars members.
Rocket launcher? Really?
While Jill desperately tries to escape the outbreak with Nemesis hot on her heels, rookie RPD officer Leon S. Kennedy and Chris Redfield's younger sister Claire Redfield both arrive in Raccoon City at the worst possible time.
Kurde, fajnie to jest zrobione, że w zasadzie 0 i 1 jako części się przecinają fabularnie i 2 i 3 to samo.
Resident Evil 2.
After being separated following a car accident, Leon and Claire agree to meet up at the nearby police department. Unfortunately, the building is also infested with zombies.
Oh god. Oh god.
On her quest to find her brother Chris, Claire runs into Sherry Birkin, a young girl being pursued by a monstrous weirdo who turns out to not only be her dad, but also Umbrella's leading scientist William Birkin.
You gotta be kidding me.
Turns out Billy B had planned to betray Umbrella and sell his newly developed G-Virus, but before he had the chance, he was gunned down by Umbrella. Before dying, William managed to infect himself with the G-Virus, allowing it to spread into Raccoon City through the water system, creating the enormous mess all our characters are now dealing with. Nice one, Willie. Meanwhile, Leon runs into Ada Wong, an FBI agent who's seeking the G-Virus for herself to prove Umbrella's corruption. They decide to form an alliance, for now.
Thank you.
Legendarne duo.
Leon and Ada run into Birkin's wife Annette, who is not a big fan of the pair. Leon and Ada follow her to a secret Umbrella underground facility called Nest in pursuit of the G-Virus sample.
I wonder where the G-Virus is.
Claire also arrives at Nest in search of a vaccine for a now infected Sherry. Leon manages to obtain the G-Virus sample but runs into William, who, in his freakish form, mortally wounds his wife. Annette reveals to Leon that Ada is not what she seems and is actually a mercenary who's looking to sell the G-Virus to the highest bidder.
She's gonna sell it.
Ada demands the G-Virus, but before Leon can hand it over, Annette manages to shoot Ada, who then falls to her death, dropping
Anetka
the
to jest
G-Virus
taka
sample in the
szmata.
process. Claire finds the vaccine and gives it to Annette to cure her daughter, while she tangles with an out-of-control William. Sherry is cured, but Annette eventually dies of her injuries. The facility is set to self-destruct, and Claire, Sherry, and Leon board a train to escape.
Shit! Gotta get out of here.
With Nest destroyed, the crew finally manages to escape the nightmare, and on the outskirts of Raccoon City, vow to continue their fight against Umbrella.
So, is it over?
Aż Sherry sama w sobie wraca, nie? Przecież chyba w 6. Okazuje się, że też jest agentką, jak już dorosła.
What if it's not? We'll stop it. Whatever it takes.
Yeah, you damn right we will.
O, Outbreak. To jestem ciekawy, bo nie grałem i nie wiem za dużo o tym. A to nam daje background samej Alysy, czyli matki Grace, którą będziemy grać w 9.
While Jill, Leon, and Claire are dealing with their own issues amidst a zombie outbreak, 8 other Raccoon City residents are also in a desperate fight for survival. Most notably, local journalist Alyssa Ashcroft, an investigative reporter trying to spotlight Umbrella's evil ways. Alyssa manages to escape Raccoon City before its government-issued annihilation, carrying information that could expose Umbrella once and for all.
Resident Evil 3.
Elsewhere in Raccoon City, Jill Valentine is infected with the T-Virus. Fortunately, Carlos Oliveira, a merc who, despite being hired by Umbrella, is on the scene to not only cure Jill, but also help her find an
Te
important...
sekcje Carlosem w remake'u były tak słabe. Jezu, ta obrona Częstochowy w szpitalu.
vaccine. At this point, our heroes discover the unfortunate news that the US government plans to wipe out Raccoon City with a missile strike, hoping to eradicate the infection. Carlos and Jill head to another underground lab, this time creatively called Nest 2. Unfortunately, Nemesis is still alive and very much in pursuit. Jill and Carlos manage to take out the abomination once and for all, and with the vaccine sample in hand, escape the city before the missile strike. Unfortunately, Nikolai, Carlos's former colleague / secret operative, is waiting and manages to destroy the vaccine vial. Jill and Carlos take down Nikolai, leaving him for dead, and escape just before the missile arrives to completely floor Raccoon City for good.
Resident Evil.
3 months after escaping from Raccoon City, Claire Redfield, in search of her brother Chris, attempts to raid a European Umbrella facility before being captured. Claire is taken to an island prison commanded by Alfred Ashford, the governor of Rockfort Island. An outbreak occurs, of course, and after being freed, Claire gets to work looking for Chris and escaping the island. There's no sign of...
Kurde, to jest dobra gra. Grałem w to Code Veronica, nie przeszedłem, bo powiem tak, gra się zrobiła mocno przestarzała i bardzo rozbudowana i skomplikowana przy okazji jest, więc mega utrudniona jest eksploracja w tym. Ja byłem autentycznie zmęczony po kilku godzinach grania, ale remake'u się doczekać nie mogę, bo też ma być.
Chris, so after much trouble, Claire escapes
To jest
on the
dobra
plane.
gra.
Ashford, who it turns out has a split personality disorder and often believes himself to be his twin sister Alexia, takes control of the plane remotely and crashes it into another Umbrella facility, this time in Antarctica. It's also worth noting that during the crash, Claire spends a period unconscious here, during which she has a dream that turns out to be the plot of Resident Evil Survivor 2. Weird.
O,
Alfred, believing Claire to be a spy, also escapes Rockfort in a quest for revenge, and after he's fatally wounded, frees his actual sister Alexia,
yes.
the person he previously believed or wished himself to be, who was cryogenically frozen and riddled with a new virus called T. Veronica. Meanwhile, back on Rockfort Island, wouldn't you know it, Chris has shown up looking for Claire. Instead, he runs into his old pal / mortal enemy, Albert Wesker.
Long time no see, Chris.
Wesker?
Who's still alive, super strong, and on a mission to find the T. Veronica sample. Turns out his plan was to be killed by the Tyrant so he could reach his full potential of some experimental virus he had or something like that. They both make their way to Antarctica, and Chris finally reunites with Claire, who then defeats a now very powerful Alexia before escaping as the facility, you guessed it, self-destructs.
klasyk. Rezydenty mają te wspólne elementy.
Hey, you know that I always keep my promises.
Oh, and
Ja
Chris
powiem
and Claire-
tak jak ogólnie sekcje laboratoryjne i licznik odliczający do wybuchu i autodestrukcji całego miejsca jest już trochę sztampowy, tak zdziwiłbym się, gdyby w Resident Evil 9, gdzie powraca nam Leon, gdzie powraca nam Raccoon City, tego nie było. Naprawdę musi być jakaś podziemna placówka sekretna, musi być 10 minut do bomby. Dziwne by było, gdyby się tak nie stało.
About to take down Umbrella. You seeing a pattern here?
There's still something we've got to do.
You mean...
Yeah, it's payback time. We've got to destroy Umbrella. Now, let's finish this once and for all.
Resident Evil 4.
6 years have now passed, and Umbrella is now long gone due to a government suspension and a stock value crash. Basically, the lamest way possible for a big bad to go out. Leon Kennedy, the once rookie RPD officer, is now a government agent who's sent on a mission to rescue the president's daughter Ashley from her kidnappers in rural Spain. Leon discovers that not only are her kidnappers a cult called Los Illuminados, but they're also infected by a brand new mind-controlling parasite called Las Plagas. During the rescue, Leon coincidentally bumps into an old flame, Ada Wong.
You can stop right there, Leon. Wouldn't make me use this, would you?
Who turns out to not be dead and is once again on the hunt for a virus. After rescuing Ashley, Leon confronts the cult's leader, Sadler, and with the help of Ada, they defeat him. Bringing down the parasite and all the hordes he infected.
I'll give you a holy body.
Ada, once again showing her true colours, takes the Las Plagas sample and escapes by helicopter, but not before, setting the base to self-destruct.
don't understand. Why would she just...
Gotta move. Island's gonna blow.
It's gonna what?
Leon and Ashley managed to escape very dramatically on a jet ski and appear to ride
R4 miał taki naprawdę już filmowy vibe fabularny.
it all the way back from Spain to the US. I mean, they probably just went back to the mainland and took a more traditional route, but imagining they jet skied across the Atlantic is funnier. So
Ale
let's
co by nie było, Resident Evil 4 jest grą legendarną i to nawet w oryginale. Jest jedna z takich ważniejszych gier, w których perspektywa zza pleców została wypromowana, nie? Więc to gameplayowo też miało znaczenie. Remake został zrobiony naprawdę dobrze. Ja wolę 2, bo wydaje mi się, że tej akcji po prostu jest trochę za dużo, ale dlatego jaram się 9 potencjalnie, bo będziemy mieli mieszaninę tego, co mieliśmy w 4 i tego, co znamy z 2 w zasadzie, nie? Gameplayowo i w 7 choćby też. Wolniejszego horroru mieszanka z akcją. To może być dobre tempo.
Resident Evil.
O Jezu, Revelations. Oh.
Shortly after the events of Resident Evil
Dziwne
4,
to
we're
było.
finally reunited with our original protagonists, Chris Redfield and Jill Valentine, who are now involved in a new investigation into bioorganic weapons, which results in them discovering a new strain of the T-virus called T-Abyss, a weapon that the latest new evil organization Veltro plans to use, infecting 1/5 of the world's oceans. Ultimately, there's a lot of betrayal and evil plots here, with names and organizations that mostly don't feature in the wider series, except for one, the BSAA, short for the Bioterrorism Security Assessment Alliance. Chris and Jill are founding members, and this new organization's motives become the driving force for these characters going forward. Naturally, Chris and Jill survive the events of Revelations, taking us directly into the next chapter of Resident Evil.
Resident
Oho.
2
Siaki,
years after
Ciro,
Resident
dzięki za
Evil
Prima.
4, our original bad Wesker is still on the loose. Chris and Jill, now under the banner of the BSAA, follow a lead towards Umbrella's founder Oswald E. Spencer, but instead run into Albert Wesker.
Jezu, remake 5 to widziałem jakiś artykuł, który był tak głupi, że remake 5 nie powinien się wydarzyć, bo 5 jest rasistowską grą, bo dzieje się w Afryce i strzelasz do afrykańskich obywateli. Kurwa, co? Stary, zombie to zombie. Może być każdy, nie? Europejczyk, Amerykaniec i Afrykańczyk również. No jakby, kurwa, zombie to zombie. Tak czy inaczej. Ta część mi się średnio podobała, bo ja nie lubię takich settingów ciepłych, pustynnych, a to miało trochę taki vibe. Zresztą 5 miała być gameplayowo konkurencją, uwaga, dla Call of Duty. Wiele razy wam to mówię, ale no cały czas mnie to szokuje. Faktycznie znajdziecie nawet wywiady mówiące o tym, że Capcom widział rosnącą popularność strzelanek i chciał trochę w tę stronę pójść. I po 5 i 6 gameplayowo to widać. Ale fabularnie, mimo że 5 gameplayowo nie jest fajna, fabularnie jest dość istotna. Bo no jednak Wesker, nie? Jednak kolejne też geneza wirusa.
Killed Spencer. Wesker, seemingly even more powerful than before and now dodging bullets for fun, is more than a match for Chris and Jill. To save Chris's life, Jill sacrifices herself, sending both her and Wesker to their deaths. Chris, understandably, is a bit sad.
Jill! Resident Evil 5.
Almost 3 years after Jill's death, Chris is tasked with apprehending terrorist Ricardo Irving, who is selling bioorganic weapons in Africa.
Wow, perceptive, aren't ya?
Along with his new partner Sheva, Chris discovers that the locals are infected by a modified Las Plagas parasite. Chris is also informed by the BSAA that Jill could still be alive. After defeating a mutated Irving, Chris and Sheva learn that Tricell, the company that funds the BSAA, had taken over Umbrella's CD work in conjunction with a, would you believe it, still alive Wesker, who's been conducting human experiments.
Wesker, you are alive.
Unfortunately, one of his victims is Jill, who is also still alive and now under Wesker's control. Chris and Sheva manage to subdue Jill and remove the mind control device before it's too late. Wesker tries to flee on a bomber, which crash lands into, of all places, a volcano.
Ja pierdolę. Nie, no to miejsce.
After some brief boulder punching, Chris and Sheva finally kill Wesker once and for all. And all is well in the world, for now.
Locked and loaded. Suck on this, Wesker. Well, time's up, you son of a bitch.
Resident Evil
Oho.
Revelation.
To jeszcze trzeba ograć kiedyś.
Claire Redfield, younger sister of Chris and now a member of TerraSave, an anti-bioterror company, once again finds herself trapped on an island with her new partner, Moira Burton, daughter of Barry Burton. Remember him?
O
He's the Jill
kurwa.
sandwich guy.
Nawet nie wiedziałem.
Nicely into a sandwich.
This island, an abandoned prison, isn't a nice place to be. While being stalked by mysterious monsters are directed around this labyrinth by someone known as the Overseer.
Who the f is quoting poetry?
Are you afraid?
After all the typical Resident Evil hijinks involving other survivors, shady corporations and betrayal, it's revealed that the Overseer is called Alex Wesker. Although she does share a surname though, she's not actually a relative of the infamous villain. Stay tuned for that later. But rather a kidnapped child who was snatched for her talents and inducted into the Wesker Project, a sinister plot developed by Oswald E. Spencer to try and develop a race of superior beings using the T-Phobos virus. Another virus, blimey.
I have to destroy you!
Idzie się w tym kurwa pogubić.
Alex has been doing her own experiments on the prison island, injecting a virus into her victims and creating a fresh batch of monstrosities. Eventually, Claire and Moira corner Alex, and now, with nowhere left to run, Alex commits suicide. But not before, say it with me, setting the base to self-destruct.
Self-destruct sequence of the facilities under fire will be
Classic.
Claire manages to escape, but unfortunately, Moira is trapped under rubble. Enter Big Daddy Barry.
Moira.
6 months pass before Barry reaches the island, desperately chasing Moira's SOS signal. But before finding his daughter, he runs into a still alive but mutated Alex Wesker.
It's not enough to live. I want to transcend.
After more survival horror hijinks, Barry eventually comes face to face with Alex, who's now heavily mutated into a final glowing orange target covered form. Fortunately, both a still alive Moira and a returning Claire Redfield with a rocket launcher arrive to swing the odds in Barry's favour.
Kurwa, jakie kadry.
In the epilogue, Claire receives a message about her brother Chris Redfield and his jaunt to China to handle another bioterror threat.
Yeah, well, tell Piers to look after him.
Right, next up is Resident Evil 6, which features not one, but 3 interwoven campaigns, and it all gets very messy. Deep breath. Let's
To nie
just
były
get
4
this.
kampanie?
Resident
Ale
Evil
3? Kurde, nie wiem.
6.
In 2012, a new virus surfaced from a company dubbed Neo Umbrella, led by someone who appears to be Ada Wong.
A, 3 plus dodatkowa, okej.
Series newcomer Jake Muller is believed to be the key to the vaccine, due to his antibodies. The reason Jake is immune is, well, because unlike Alex Wesker, he's actually Wesker's child.
Oho.
You're Wesker Jr.
Wesker? You lost me.
In 2013, the American president decides that enough is enough with all these bioterror incidents, and it's time to spill the beans about what really happened in Raccoon City. However, before he can, there's another infection attack, and the president, now a zombie, has to be taken down by his loyal agent and series favourite, Leon Kennedy. Ada Wong then arrives and tells Leon that National Security Advisor Derek Simmons is affiliated with Neo Umbrella, and behind the terror attack that zombified the Prez. Leon heads to China in pursuit of Simmons. Chris Redfield, now racked with post-traumatic stress and a thirst for revenge after his team was slaughtered by Ada, also heads to China, as does Jake, because, you know, plot.
Hell yeah!
Right, there's a lot going on here, so let's do this bit really quickly. Chris finds out Jake's true identity, and despite an awkward moment when Chris tells Jake he's killed his dad, they mostly work it out. Simmons dies, Chris's mate Piers is wounded, and then grows a new arm with the C virus and saves Chris. Jake kills his boss, who's not worth talking about, and we also find out that there are 2 Adas, one being an imposter called Carla, and that explains all the outfit changes, and finally all the good guys win and go their separate ways. Basically, a lot is going on, and it's not very good, so maybe just ignore this bit.
President would have done the same.
Resident Evil 7.
In 2017, Ethan Winters is searching for his missing wife, Mia, eventually following the trail deep into Louisiana, where he finds her imprisoned by a very odd and very disgusting family, the Bakers.
Welcome to the family, son.
Ethan is attacked and captured by Jack Baker, and then forced to join in with a vomit-inducing family dinner with his wife Marguerite, son Lucas, and an elderly woman.
Oh shit, he's not eating the Jack!
It turns out
Te postacie w 7 były tak dobrze napisane. To było tak fajne.
has been infected by something called mold, some sort of parasitic fungal virus that has the added benefit of resilience, but the
groteskowe
downside of
bardzo.
making you a bit gross. After escaping and managing to kill hideous forms of Jack and Marguerite, Ethan reunites with his wife and develops a serum to help shake off her apparent mold infection. After trying to flee on a boat, the vessel is capsized by a mysterious creature that turns out to be a girl named Evelyn, a bioweapon that Mia, who it turns out is a secret agent, was tasked with escorting. Turns out Evelyn was responsible for the Baker family's mind-altering infection, because she was desperate for her own family. You know, like all bioweapons are, classic stuff.
Listen, the girl just wants a family of her own.
Side note, you can also find a note from Alyssa Ashcroft in Resident Evil
Ano,
7.
jest
Remember
notatka.
her from Resident Evil
Artykuł.
Outbreak? Turns out she's still a jobbing journo who's investigating the disappearances in Louisiana. After injecting Evelyn with a toxin, she reverts to her true form as the old woman at the baker's disgusting dinner. Turns out that she's been rapidly aging. Evelyn mutates into a giant blob like all classic Resident Evil bosses, and after a final confrontation with Ethan, with a little help from a recently arrived military squad, she's finally destroyed. In a final twist, the leader of the military squad is revealed to be none other than a very different looking Chris Redfield,
Kurwa, Chris to co część zmienił wygląd.
emerging from a helicopter that's branded Umbrella.
Resident Evil 7.
After Ethan escapes, Chris and his team pursue Lucas Baker, who it turns out was never actually under Evelyn's mind control due to a serum provided to him by a new shadowy organization called The Connections. The Connections were behind Evelyn's creation, and they were using Lucas to gather more data on her. But he also planned to betray his masters anyway, you know, like every Resident Evil villain ever.
Lucas!
After finally working his way through a series of traps, Chris manages to kill a mutated Lucas and finally returns to base for an urgent call.
Game over.
Ten dodatek gameplayowo był do dupy.
Resident Evil.
Brat Jacka miał fajniejszy.
Over 3 years later, Ethan and Mia's Eastern Europe-based family Bliss is violently interrupted by the Hound Wolf squad, led by returning and turtlenecked Chris Redfield, who now oddly looks like he did before Resident Evil 7 again. Weird. Chris and his goons shockingly and mercilessly gun down Mia and then kidnap Ethan and his child, Rosemary.
No! What? Why?
Ethan wakes to find himself stuck in a rural village and runs into terrified villagers who've been cowering from a horde of marauding lichens. Ethan, on a desperate quest to find his missing daughter Rose, works his way through the abandoned village and into a nearby castle inhabited by vampires, most notably an enormous goth mummy called Lady Dimitrescu.
A no.
Oh, be careful what you wish for, Ethan Winters.
Lady D, along with a group of oddities, belong to a worshipping cult for Mother Miranda,
Heisenberg
a
najfajniejszy
godlike,
tutaj był.
mold-infected leader, who, in a quest to bring her daughter back to life, ended up becoming consumed by the infection and spreading it to her 4 elevated lords and houses. In his journeys, Ethan discovers a crest for these 4 lords that looks eerily similar to Umbrella's logo. Hey, remember them? Ethan's journey to rescue Rose and take down Miranda's lords eventually leads him to Chris Redfield. Chris explains that the Mia he gunned down wasn't actually Mia at all, but rather a shape-shifting Mother Miranda, who considered Ethan and Mia's daughter Rose to be the Evelyn successor based on the fact that both her parents were infected by the mold.
She changed her appearance and pretended to be Mia. Seems she also survived being shot, so now I'm here to finish the job.
Rose was born with unique properties, and after Miranda finally confronted Ethan in her true form, she explained that the mold would help rebirth Rose as her daughter Eva. Miranda then, without hesitation, rips out Ethan's heart.
Miranda! You coward! Come out and face me!
Don't worry.
To było pojebane. W sensie w Resident Evil 6 Ada to nie Ada i potem się dowiadujesz, że Ada to nie Ada i jest inna Ada. W Resident Evil 8 dowiadujesz się, że Ethan tak naprawdę nie żył od poprzedniej części, a jego żona to nie była jego żona. Nie wiem, kurwa. Zaraz w 9 się okaże, że Leon to nie Leon.
Your death will come quick. You will join the Megamycetes records.
Chris and the Hound Wolf squad launch a full assault against Mother Miranda, battling through her waves of monsters and destroying a large mold barrier that's now protecting her. Once inside, Chris and the team discover a large mold root that's called the Megamycete. That turns out to be the source of the mold that's plagued the village, but also the Baker family in Resident Evil 7. Turns out, the Megamycete not only infects its victims, but it also absorbs their DNA and memories. Chris plants a detonation device, but before destroying the mold once and for all, decides to pass through Miranda's lab for one last lore dump. He discovers the entirety of Miranda's plan and her quest to find a suitable vessel for her daughter Ava's consciousness to be reborn into. Miranda was also responsible for the creation of Evelyn, working with the connections. Later in the lab, Chris discovers the biggest shock of all, when it's revealed that Oswald E. Spencer, founder of Umbrella, was actually a student of Miranda and began work on the progenitor virus based on her teachings. To honor this, the Umbrella logo took inspiration from Miranda's Four Lords symbol that Ethan discovered earlier. Not only was Miranda responsible for everything in Resident Evil 7 and Village, but she was also the inspiration that started it all. After Chris finally works his way through the exposition hallway, he discovers the true and very much alive Mia, who reveals that Ethan also isn't quite dead yet. It's revealed that Miranda didn't kill Ethan, Jack Baker did, way back in the start of Resident Evil 7. Ethan was infected by mold, which had been keeping him moving this entire time, and explained how a man could regularly reattach body parts with just a bit of healing juice.
Ciekawy sposób na wyjaśnienie magicznej wódeczki.
Despite this, Ethan is falling apart, but can muster enough for one last stand with Mother Miranda, where upon defeating the big bad once and for all, he manages to pass his daughter to Chris and take ownership of a detonation device that would destroy the village, the mold, and himself once and for all. Ethan triggers the explosion as Chris, Mia, and Rose escape. In 2037, a now much older Rose is learning about her abilities, one of which is the power to connect with a surviving piece of the mold root recovered from the incident 16 years prior. After jacking in, Rose enters a new realm, full of the memories from the victims the Megamycete had consumed. Rose then takes a jaunt through a version of the village, guided by a spirit called Michael, who ends up being Ethan's remaining consciousness. She's also taunted by the trapped consciousness of Mother Miranda, who is desperate to escape the realm. With the help of Ethan and her newfound abilities, Rose manages to defeat Mother Miranda and share one last moment with her father before she returns to the real world.
I love you, Rose. I love you too, Dad.
In the aftermath, Rose visits Ethan's grave while shadowed by a mysterious agent who calls her Evelyn. And after threatening him, Rose reveals that she has abilities that even Chris doesn't know about.
Oh, it's just a joke, Rose.
Ciekawe, czy kiedykolwiek Intersi jeszcze w zasadzie się przepną z resztą fabuły. Niby nie mają, ale kto wie.
And that's it, the entire plot of Resident Evil that matters before you dive into Resident Evil Requiem. Yes, we skipped over some bits here or there, but there's a lot to cover in the wacky world of Resident Evil.
To jest niesamowite, że i tak zdecydowana większość tu została pominięta i tak ciężko się w tym połapać.
Excuse me while I set my base to self-destruct and vow to get my revenge. And if you like that video, why not check out our final hands-on preview of Resident Evil Requiem. And for everything else Resi, stick with IGN.
Miejmy nadzieję, że jakiś background, taki typowe ustawienie fabularne i tak się w 9 pojawi, bo wątpię, żeby Capcom oczekiwał po ludziach znajomości Resident Evil Outbreak czy Resident Evil 6, zwłaszcza gdzie 6 jest raczej jedną z tych gorszych części, tylko po to, żeby wiedzieć, kurde, w jakim miejscu fabularnie jest Leon. Ogólnie jest wirus, Leon strzela też, no i tak 30 lat już, no i w sumie... Kurde. Ciężko się dziwić też, że ta fabuła jest taka rozległa właśnie, biorąc pod uwagę, że 30 lat tworzenia gier rezydentowych ma miejsce, nie? W tym roku. Chyba. No tak, chyba 30-lecie. Popieprzona sprawa.